Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 4th episode of my webinar series, Hustle and Glow. I hope you guys have enjoyed the previous 3 episodes, and tonight's topic is about the untapped opportunity. Basically, how to integrate retail into your practice without being pushy. And as a physician and entrepreneur, I started this Hustle and Glow webinar series because I wanted to educate people in the beauty business like you and I about how to both attract, maintain, and grow a loyal clientele. And all of these episodes and topics are curated by me for you with, of course, with passion and profitability in mind. I'm very happy today to actually be at my 2nd location, which is in beautiful Harbor Point, Stamford, Connecticut. It's called Skin Lab Nichols MD of Greenwich. And I think you're gonna love it as we talk about how we've integrated retail into this space. So let's talk a little tour around the reception, because that's really where it begins. And it actually, even before that, it starts kind of on the phone when the patients are calling, making an appointment, right? So when my staff knows to educate the patients about the fact that they can expect to be talked to about retail when they get here. And then before their appointment, they can even go on our shop page and see some of the retail products that we integrate into their skincare. Because you want to start with the most important message. And we're going to talk more about that in the PowerPoint part of this presentation. But you want to talk to your patients about the fact that retail is not something on the side. It really is part of their care, and it's gonna make their comprehensive skincare results the best. So it's not just a way to kind of make extra money, it really is about benefiting them overall. So let's take a look at reception and just a few things, key things I wanted to point out. First of all, if we come over here, you want it to be a tactile experience and something, again, where you're not pushing it on them, that they're just kind of seeing it and touching it. So here is our beautiful SkinCeuticals custom dose machine. You probably have heard us talk about custom dose on other webinars and also, in our offices. And basically, this is a customized anti-aging serum and a way to deal with uneven skin tone. But the best part about it, as you see here, is that we actually make it here in the office in front of the patient. And it's a huge ooh and ah, and they really see that it's customized for them, and we're making it in live time. So again, something tactile, visual, beautiful, a screen here to show them how it's done, and then they actually make it. So again, doing that visually is very important. Here we have these light boxes, and the great thing is that you'll see later when we do the live demonstration, which is gonna be on Pore-Minimizing Micro Tox, our rooms are actually open. They're glass fronted. So we're on a 1st floor retail level, which is amazing in terms of visibility. So these screens show 24 hours a day, and they show not only our products, but they also have videos that can show, the integration of how the retail works with the treatments that we're talking about here. So again, we're marketing even when we're closed, which is great because these are lit up at night. Another thing that really speaks to the retail and helps for the patients to kind of touch is our actual tester bar. So on this tester bar, we have a number of the products that we sell for makeup. DermaBlend is our main one, and this is makeup that's great for skincare, and it's also good and non-comedogenic. And the patients can actually, of course, test it themselves, try it on themselves, and they can really see, right there on the tester bar. So again, tactile experience, visual, you're selling without even selling. And then one thing that I really love is our actual SkinCeuticals skincare bar, where you can see here, this wasn't happenstance. We actually faced this nice little sit-down waiting room couch here in front of the skincare bar, right? So they can't help but look at the products, start asking questions about them, feel free to walk up and touch them. Again, this was, a way to sell products or for them to ask about them before we even mention them and before they even come into the rooms for their treatments. So again, this is something to think about in your practices, even in the orientation of your furniture. I know it's important, actually. So we're going to get into the PowerPoint part of this discussion, and I'm going to sit down and talk about some other ways that we integrate retail into our skincare practice. I hope you garner a lot of questions, and then of course we'll go in to the live demonstration that portion of this night. So please follow me. I'm going to go and start this presentation. And this is one of our rooms here. Today, like I said, we're going to talk about the untapped opportunity, retail integration, how to integrate retail without being salesy. These are some of my disclosures. And just about me, I'm a New Yorker, and I've kind of gone from coast to coast, and now back here in Fairfield County, Connecticut, which is basically very close to New York City. My first practice in Greenwich, and now our second location, which is about 10 minutes away in Harbor Point, Stamford, Connecticut. Come visit us. So as I said, my philosophy in all things, but in Hustle and Glow specifically, is really about how we attract, maintain, and grow loyal clientele, and different ways that we do that. So for those of you who are physicians or physician extenders, you know the fact that we don't learn about these things in medical school, right? We don't learn about business. We certainly don't learn about running a private practice, and we certainly don't learn about selling skincare products. But this might be something that we need to know, especially if we get into aesthetic medicine and dermatology. So the way that I learned about these things was really by hook or by crook, right? So through some of my farm reps, through courses that I took, through things that were offered later at conferences. But you have to really focus on the fact that this is not something that we innately are taught. And for many of us in science and in medicine, we actually are, we get very weird and uncomfortable when we're talking about selling. Like, oh God, that's not what we do. So it's definitely something, a hurdle that we have to get over in terms of ways to do it in a good way for your business without feeling that you're pushing the patient or getting out of your realm. So a couple of fast facts. So this was just a number given by a leading aesthetic company about the percentage, the top 10% of aesthetic practices per year. This number is the average, which is $470,000 that comes from retail alone. Now, again, these were the top 10% in the country, but we're actually high in that number here at Nichols MD, although we're striving better and better every day. But think about that. So if you're not tapping into a retail opportunity, you could be losing on possibly $500,000. So again, this is something that you really want to focus on, because it's money that you don't have to really work for that hard if you do it in the right way. 74% lack confidence. So this is basically about the fact that patients in studies have said that, this is the percentage that lack confidence in what they're using in their skincare. So, they come into the office and they've gotten all the way to you. I mean, this isn't a spa or such, and, they're looking for you for the advice about what to use. We always think that we're pushing something on people, but actually they're overwhelmed. We all know, if you see this little photo here on the side, I call it the drawer of beauty. We all have it where, we have this drawer of 1,000 different products and samples that we've gotten at various department stores and drugstores. And we don't use any of them because we don't know how to use them. We don't know if they're good for us. And they just stay in the drawer and get dusty. And then we end up buying more. So again, they're coming to you so that you can tell them exactly what they should be using. So don't feel shy about that. Studies have shown that 60% of patients are unsure about how to even wash their face. So again, this goes down to the basics. 54% wash just once a day, and 2/3 use anti-aging products as part of their daily skincare routine, but the majority will admit that they don't know if they're appropriate for their skin type and they also don't know what order to use them. And they also tend to use different product lines every single day. You know, take a little bit of this, take a little bit of that, and see what happens. And sometimes bad things happen. So of course we're here to pare things down. I love, and encourage your patients to do this. We actually, when new patients, potential new patients call on the phone, my staff is trained to ask them to please bring in their current products. And sometimes it's a huge bag, sometimes it's a small one, but we encourage that because a lot of times people don't remember what they're using, and they're using, like I said, kind of a hodgepodge. So we love for them to just bring it in, and that way we can kind of go through everything on the first day. And then I start, sorting everything and paring everything down. Studies have shown that only 11% wear sunscreen every day. So as a board certified dermatologist, my first job is sun safety and protecting skin health. So, for that number to be so low still, it blows my mind every day. So one of the first things, of course, that I recommend is daily sunscreen. And that sometimes is the most important part of the appointment in terms of talking about their regimen. And 46% never wear sunscreen. So why is retail so important to your practice and to your patients? So we all know, like we said, patients are buying non-medical grade products. Even I tell them the most expensive, for instance, something like La Mer, is not FDA approved to use potent medical grade products or percentages. So these are really just, very nicely dressed up creams that are put in nice packages, and they're paying a lot of money for them, and there's really not doing much. Patients are using the wrong product. Again, they're told they're passed something by a salesperson, and it could be completely, wrong and harmful to their specific skin type. They may have underlying issues such as acne or rosacea, where certain products will actually inflame the problem. So again, that's why it's so important for them to get the word from us professionals. Patients are buying products. So I think this is the most important thing. And this is something we have to educate my staff on, my director and I, all the time, which is if they're not buying it with us, they're definitely buying it somewhere. They're buying on the internet, they're buying at the department store, they're buying it at the department store or the pharmacy. So they are buying it, and they have tons of products. So don't think that, I'm good. When they say, I'm good on my products, they're going to go out somewhere else if you don't tell them what you think medically they should be using and what you recommend for their skin. And thus, of course, these patients are wasting a lot of money. One of the biggest things, the patients will say is, God, I know your products, SkinCeuticals and such, and your Nichols MD products are so good and effective and medical grade, but they're a little expensive. And I say, well, I'll tell you, nothing that's worth something is going to be inexpensive. But let's talk about how much money you're wasting on the 20 products from the drugstore that you're using right now. If you add it up, it really comes to more than the 3 or 4 products that I'm recommending for you. And when you put it that way, the patients, oh, wow. And I tell them, you only have to use these 4 products that actually work to get much better results. And then you can throw those other ones out in the trash, and you'll be actually saving money in the end. So that's a big education point, to bring to their attention. One thing that I mentioned is patients aren't using the products synergistically. There's certain products that actually go against each other and shouldn't be paired with each other or piled on top of each other. So again, that's something that you have to kind of go through with them. And I literally will write out regimens for them, AM, this step by step, PM, bedtime, step by step. And patients deserve comprehensive care. I think that's the way that you get over this hump of feeling like, oh God, you're selling people. You're a medical provider, right? So, and they've come to you for this expertise. So what part of that is the fact that the treatments alone are not going to give them the best result. The treatments alone are going to give them a great result, but the optimal result is when they then go home and use the skincare regimen that's appropriate for them. They'll get exponential results. So you're actually helping them. This is not about selling them something, it's about helping them. And they really, really come back and are so happy about the fact that counsel was given to them. So how to really come off not pushy. Always think about your mindset, right? So it shouldn't be an afterthought. It's integrated from the minute your patient's calling the phone throughout the appointment. One thing that I have, kind of my go-to for patients who are maybe a little bit hesitant about starting a new regimen is my Dr. Nichols trifecta, which is of course trifecta, so that's 3 products. And these are really for patients who I say, look, if you're wary about starting something new, you want things that are the most important, what really works, it comes down to these 3 products. The first, of course, is an antioxidant serum in the morning. So a vitamin C and E, which is so important in terms of protecting the skin from both the sun and environmental damage. The daily sunscreen. And then at night, using an anti-aging product such as Custom Dose with retinol. Retinol being, of course, the number 1 anti-aging product. So I start them with that. They go home, they use it for a month or 2. They always come back very satisfied. And then they're ready to even add on products to their regimen now that they feel very comfortable with that initial trifecta. So I encourage you to come up with something where you have kind of a go-to of a basic, smaller regimen that you can talk to your patients about, and then they can build from that. One thing that we make a point of, and we educate our assistant staff about, is incorporating the products into the actual treatment. So for instance, if we're doing, a type of microneedling procedure or, some sort of peel, using one of our products afterwards, for instance, an antioxidant, on the skin right after the treatment so the patient can feel it, touch it, see how it looks, the glow it gives them after the procedures. That's a great way to sell without selling because, again, they felt it themselves, they like it, and they're definitely more inclined to purchase it either at checkout or even on the shop page later or when they come back for their next appointment. Psychology of no. So, again, I talk about the fact that many of the over-the-counter products that they're using a ton of them that don't come close to, the 3 or 4 medical grade products in terms of efficacy. We also show before and afters, which you'll see when I do the live demo. You'll see we have TVs in every room that are rolling a whole stream of our before and afters, all done by us. And we have a product pairing on the photos to show which product goes with this treatment and which product was used and how that affected the final outcome or the after photo. And one thing that I think is so important is, not just recommending, but really asking the patients, are you ready to commit to this regimen? It only works if you do it. And, asking them that question really gets a level of commitment out of them than just handing them a piece of paper. So some things that we educate our staff and that you could think of in terms of how to start the conversation without being pushy. What sunscreen are you using every day? So of course, with this question, you're assuming they're using one. And if they're not, they already know that they should be. You look great. What have you been using? People always have a secret, so compliment them, keep it open-ended, and then help them to kind of gear what their conversation about what they're using to maybe adding something that could be potentially even more beneficial. Putting the product on the back of your hands, again, so that they can feel it, even if they're not doing a treatment. You can do that right in the consultation. And educate them in terms of, how to use the product and not be wasteful. So for instance, we have, some products that come in these little pipettes to administer, and we let them know, is it half a pipette, a full pipette, so that they know how much they should be using and that they're not underusing or overusing. And always confirm. So on the second appointment, I always will have them kind of go through the regimen, make sure I print out the regimen again if they don't have it, because we keep it in their charts, just because, sometimes people lose it and everything else. And you just want to confirm that they're using the products correctly and that they're really using them. So for instance, if they say, 6 months later, oh yeah, doc, I still got the antioxidant bottle, which is like a 30 ml, then they're definitely not using it once a day like they should be. So it's a chance to kind of get in there and educate them further. So why is retail so important? It's your responsibility as a provider of skincare, as a skincare expert, to know that the treatments alone are not going to have it, are not going to do it. It's not a nice to have. It's essential for the better care for the patient and for you, right? So of course, we're also about profitability. So patient satisfaction is number one. Your earnings, commission, patient tenure, referrals, more appointments, staff earnings. We make a point to give our staff monthly commissions with their earnings in terms of products, and overall company earnings, which of course move the company further and allow you to expand. So again, this is not a small thing, and the best part about a retail, and when you get it right, and when you make it part of your business that's seamless, is that of course this is extra earnings that you don't have to work for as hard. So again, it really can be essential to growing, and not really something that's just nice to have or on the side. So a few pearls, we've gone through some of them already, but things that you want to go through, of course, are some of the myths that patients might have in terms of like, oh, they have SPF in their makeup. They might be over exfoliating using those brushes too much. So various things that they could be doing. And again, educating them about how the best results come from integrating both their treatments and their products, and really coming from a comprehensive approach, right? So it's what you do in the office, it's your skincare, and it's your healthy habits and nutrition also. So these are just some couple of photos. This is a pore minimizing that we'll be doing after this part of the presentation. And here we paired it with the patient with Glycolic 10 Renew Overnight, which is one of my favorites that she used every other night. And really you can see the synergistic effect here. And here's another one with a cheek and a glowy CE Ferulic, which is an antioxidant serum. Another photo here using my Dr. Nichols pore minimizing pads, which are a glycolic acid pad. So I'm excited. We're soon going to go into the live demo where I will be actually demonstrating Pore-Minimizing Micro Tox. So I don't know how many of you guys are doing this already, but you should be. This is one of the highest, easiest, quickest, but of highest patient satisfaction procedures that we have started. We've probably been doing this for about a year or so. So for those of you who don't know, microtox is multiple micro droplets of diluted neurotoxin that are administered into the dermis on the interface between that and the superficial layers of the facial muscles. So the exact mechanism is not fully delineated, but studies have shown that the way that this works is through a couple of mechanisms. So overall, it decreases sweat and sebaceous gland activity to minimize the appearance of pores. Neurotoxin's anticholinergic effect blocks stimulation of sebocytes, thereby decreasing autocrine function and release of oil and such. It also exerts a neuromodulatory effect on the erectile pillar muscles, which of course are with the hair follicle and affecting the kind of closing of the pores. And it decreases the release of acetylcholine, leading to multiple effects that ultimately decrease the production of sebum in the skin. So again, this is something where it's such a quick treatment. They expect to see results in about 5 to 8 days on average, and they just get a glassy appearance that you can't really get with anything this quick. It would be something like, a series of microneedling or a series of different treatments to get this same effect that they can get very quickly, and they really do love it and become addicted to it. So you'll see the technique when we do the actual demonstration, but it's using intradermal injections of tiny little blebs in the nose, cheeks, and possibly the chin and forehead if they're also affected, which for most patients with large pores or a history of acne or rosacea, those areas, the malar areas, tend to all be affected. and you'll see that these little blebs will show a little temporary blanching. Ends up being 30 to 50 split between the two sides of the face, little micro injections. They're very tolerable. You'll see our patient that we're about to demonstrate on. And like I said, you couldn't have a quicker treatment, and the downtime afterwards is really nil. So I'm super excited. We're about to go into the live injection portion of the presentation. I hope you guys are putting together some questions, because we'll be answering those at the end of the demonstration and even during. Thank you. So welcome back, everybody. And now we're going to start the actual fun part. I hope you've actually enjoyed the beginning part too. But we're going to be doing the Pore-Minimizing Micro Tox injections. And this is my beautiful model, Carly. Carly, how are you today?
I was doing good. How are you doing?
Good. Now, have you had this treatment before?
I have not, no.
Okay. Now, what has bothered you about your pore size, and what have you tried in the past, if anything?
I haven't really tried anything, but I really don't like the pore size on my nose, on my cheeks, a little bit on my chin. So just trying to minimize that.
Nice. And did you have a history of oily skin when you were a teenager?
Yeah, my skin's pretty oily.
Okay.
So looking to minimize that as well.
Very typical. And I mean, come on, she's got beautiful skin. Mm-hmm. But again, you know, the pore size bothers her a little bit. I think especially people will often bring up the fact that when they do wear makeup, it can actually even make it look worse, and they want sort of a smoother application. So again, I think she's an excellent candidate for the Pore-Minimizing Micro Tox. I'm here with my beautiful physician assistant, Caitlin, who's going to be assisting me with this procedure. This procedure is very quick, but Caitlin's just going to be assisting me and showing you some of the products that we use afterwards. Like I said, to integrate the retail right here in the appointment, so the patient can actually feel it on their face while we're recommending the products to them. Oh, before I forget, so behind me is the TV that I was describing in the presentation, and we have these in all of our exam rooms at both offices. And what they show is, of course, before and afters of our real patients. But most importantly to this conversation, you know, what products we used in conjunction with this treatment to get the best effect. So it really helps to hone that into patients even before we actually walk in sometimes. Because of course they're sitting and waiting for a few minutes before I walk in or one of the assistants walks in, and they're looking at this. So they're already knowing, okay, skincare is part of this whole thing. It's not just a treatment and then let me go use the drugstore product. So again, things that you can use which subliminally tell them about the retail's integration that they should be using. So we're going to start the treatment. So Carly has already had some numbing cream applied for about 25, 30 minutes before the procedure. It's not necessary. I mean, it takes the edge off, and if she wants to, that's fine. But again, this is a procedure that's so quick that, you know, most patients won't need it. But again, always offer it. You want your patient to be most comfortable. And for this, I didn't want her to jump during the procedure, so we definitely made sure that she was numb. All right, so Carly, you can put your head up against the headrest. And so important in the technique, we've already talked about, this is a diluted form of neurotoxin. Important in the technique is that you want to get these little intradermal little blebs. And I tell patients that they're going to be these little white sort of little bumps on their face that will go away soon, but that's intentional because that's where we want to get so superficial enough to affect the pores. So I'm hoping that this shows well on camera, but you can see that. So you can see there and I'm doing these injections about 1 centimeter apart. And you can see there that kind of translucent little bleb that comes up. And I'm spreading this on the most effective areas, which for her are the cheeks, the nose, and the chin. Some people will have malar forehead involved. But for her, I don't really see much there, so I don't think we need that there. Carly, I'm going to turn you there. And sometimes the numbing cream does make them bleed a little bit more. But again, we're very superficial here. How you doing, Carly?
Good.
Good. And you can see more demos on our website showing more of the Pore-Minimizing Micro Tox. A little splash there. And now we're going to do a little bit on the nose. Comes to about 30 to 50 micro injections when you end up finishing it all. And Caitlin, when do most of your patients end up seeing the full results?
2 to 3 weeks.
Okay. And for an event, this is great. So, if you have a big event coming up, and as I mentioned, you're going to be wearing more makeup than usual, and you want it to look really nice and smooth. This is a great treatment. Perfect. All right, Carly, you can turn to me. I'll take another new gauze. Mm-hmm. So we're halfway through. Pretty easy, right?
Yeah.
And again, doing those little blebs. Carly, I'm gonna have you turn your head even more. Perfect. Just so they can get a view without me blocking it. And in terms of how long they should expect the results to last, Caitlin, what is the average usually?
About 4 months.
Okay, yeah. So, about the same as Botox for intramuscular injections of the upper face. So this is one of those procedures, just like all neurotoxin procedures, where patients are so thrilled with the results, they tend to come back, on the dime in terms of, so again, something where you have a winner procedure, they're definitely going to be coming back in terms of patient retention. All right, we're almost done.
Next one.
And Carly, do you have any events coming up?
I'm going away next weekend.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right, well, you're going to look good. All those photos you're going to take. There's a nice little bleb to see. And then I'm going to do a few more in this medial portion, the cheek, which is most affected. Microtox is actually something that we could go on and on about. It's being used in crepey skin. It's being used in rosacea. There's just so much stuff going out there about the uses of microtox. It's being used in patients who have, maybe petite forehead, and the risk of intramuscular neurotoxin is too great in terms of brow ptosis or brow dropping. So using microtoxin there to get improvement in the rhytids without risking that intramuscularly. So there's so much out there. I really want to talk about this more at another webinar too. All right, so let's clean you up. How you doing?
Good.
Good. And, she might get a teeny little injection mark bruise there, but I don't see a lot. So Caitlin's gonna clean her up, and then she's gonna apply a couple of products that go into, helping this treatment get the optimal results. One is going to be CE Ferulic, which is our SkinCeuticals hero product, our vitamin C and E antioxidant. What's nice about it post-treatment, and you'll see here, is that it gives a nice little glow too to the skin. So patients leave not feeling like they've been beaten up. They actually feel like they look a little glowy and even better. So that's something that we'll be applying. Just getting some of the little injection marks off. And then on the other half of the face, just for demonstration purposes, sorry, I have your nose ring here. This is live TV, folks.
I felt it.
I pay extra for that. Or charge extra for that. And on the other side, we're going to be using HA intensifier. So why don't you turn, Carly? And this is a hydrating hyaluronic acid, which is really safe for all skin types and all skin conditions. It's one of my favorites for people who need a little moisture, but they don't want to be clogging their pores, which is her. So this is really nice in terms of getting a little moisture there without having something too heavy. And then finally, we're going to be putting on a very light sunscreen. One product that I love for the patients to use once they get home to improve their results is my Nichols MD pore refining pads, which I think I mentioned in the presentation. So this is a glycolic acid pad. People love them. They really work and they extend the results. So this is something that I would have them using once a day, usually at night, depending upon their regimen. We can answer a few questions before we wrap up. There's really no area that I wouldn't microtox because, again, remember, the microtox is addressing superficial pores. We're not talking about intramuscular. So you shouldn't, if injecting correctly, shouldn't get into issues with, faulty injections or some sort of muscle issue that would happen. We write out regimens for patients, at the appointment without fail. And we save them in their charts. So literally I'm saying, AM, 1, 2, 3, 4 steps, PM, 1, 2, 3, 4. So then when they come back in, we don't ask the question, so are you using your products? How's your skincare regimen going? Because of course they're gonna say, oh, it's good. And we'll say, oh, what are you using? And they'll say, oh, that blue one you gave me or that. So then we just say, okay, let's just make sure to clarify. And we print out the regimen and we actually go through it with them again. And it really breeds compliance, because sometimes they're a little embarrassed that either they weren't using the products in the right order or they weren't using the products at all. So again, this is just another step to kind of, help them in terms of compliance. And they realize that, they respect us more because they realize we're not just giving out cookie cutter regimens to everybody, and that this is in their chart. This was specific for them, and we meant something by the fact that this was an important part of the recommendations that I gave them. We talk about this every single staff meeting, every single Monday ad nauseum, and then again and again and again and again about the importance of the fact that they feel like they're doing good for the patients. They know that this is not just about their commission. It's about the fact that they've seen with their own eyes the patient who doesn't use skincare products but comes for their treatments and the patient who does. And now they're able to see the marked difference in how the patient looks and how their treatments get extended and everything else. So again, I don't even have to convince them anymore. I mean, at this point, they're convinced themselves and they do it because they want to. Yes, the commission's great. Everybody wants a little extra money every month. But again, I think the most important thing is the fact that my staff believes in the mission and believes in the results that we're seeing. One of the main tips, which I discussed in one of the previous webinars of Hustle and Glow, was to start slow, know what you're doing times 10, make sure that your mission is crystal clear and that every staff you bring on knows that, and then work from there. I mean, it took me, 8 years to get where I am now, and hopefully in 10 years I'll be even further, but it started very small. And the key is not to kind of go out of your comfort zone immediately, to really take it slow and be good at one thing, and then your patients will be your patients for life. Go to one of our websites, so NicholsMD_dermatology, or Skin Lab Nichols MD. And even better to get quick information is to go to those Instagram sites for Nichols MD _dermatology and Skin Lab Nichols MD. We have a ton of tips. We show videos. We have, everything categorized so you can go to kind of the treatment that you're interested in. And then when you do hopefully start doing these treatments, using these with your patients, you've gotten to see them live and gotten more information about it. Also, our YouTube is a great resource because in the YouTube, I'm able to really go into things a little bit more because we have a longer time platform. So there's a myriad of places that you can get more information from us. And the best thing is that these are our own patients. These are our own before and afters. This is not stuff taken from companies. So you can, trust what we say and show. Well, thank you guys so much. I hope you've enjoyed this hour. And please, we're here. So if there's any questions you also want to DM us that come up later. And please tune in Wednesday, October 27th from 6 to 7, same time, same place, where I will be discussing how to launch a new treatment in your office. I have a lot of pearls for that I've actually published about. So I hope you have a good night, and we will see you then on October 27th. Thank you very much.